I want you to do the same thing that I'm doing. I never sang this before. I'm just surrendering and opening my energy, and the
That's
idea
cool.
comes in, and then it just comes out. And it
Hmm.
took me a while to come up with a rhyme, right?
Right, right.
I couldn't think of anything until I'm like struggling while you're soloing. What's something that rhymes with,
Hmm.
well, took. Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. Now, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that was like, you know, that was just, left brain like. Now, it
Hmm.
was like, combing through the brainstorming until something worked.
Yeah.
So, can you be brainstorming while you're accompanying? Sure, you can, as
Sure.
long as you don't lose the beat.
Yeah.
But if you're at risk of losing the beat, then you can't,
Right, right.
right? Because you're accompanying.
Hmm.
It's I watched an interview. I watched two interviews last night. I've talked to you about Rick Beato. Remember the big giant YouTuber? There's another shout out for him. I keep shouting out to this guy.
Yeah.
So he wrote back to me. I kept telling him about, how on his comments that I wanted him to include John Petrucci and Dream Theater and their,
Hmm.
the greatest music. And eventually he wrote back to one of my comments and he said, I did interviews with John Petrucci and Jordan Rudess of Dream Theater. Why don't you check them out? So
Right,
I did.
right.
I did. And they were really good interviews. And he was really respectful to him, and he did a great job and asked really good questions, mostly about gear and like playing. But there was a lot of gear questions. So if you're not into guitars and amps, then at least the first part of the guitar player John Petrucci interview would be kind of boring, maybe.
Yeah.
But I wanted to reference the keyboard player Jordan Rudess's interview specifically because in it he's like, as a piano player that went to Juilliard, I was raised as an accompanist. He's
Hmm.
like, I have to be able to hear the singer breathe,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
like, in classical music, the singer's breath is like the click track in the studio.
Hmm.
You have to be able to hear it. So
Right.
when I'm doing a live performance with the band, there's certain parts where the vocals can be down in my monitors, but then when it's
Hmm.
just me and him, right? The singer, it has to be to where I can really hear, every little puff of air come out of his mouth,
Right, right.
right?
Hmm.
And so that's because he's just so listening that he's able to just elastically, fluidly just control the tempo, not unlike your choir teacher or whatever, or your
Yeah.
band teacher, right?
Right.
The way that they would, apply the rallentando or whatever with the conducting. It's the same kind of an idea, but it's like just from listening to that for that breath.
Hmm.
And why is the breath so important? Why is he listening for breath? Why is that the way he was trained?
Well, because that's like the meditating before the song
Well,
or during, but yeah.
I'm talking in a more classical music
Oh, okay.
viewpoint.
Right, right, right.
Why? Why is he listening for the breath? Why is that so important to him as an
Well,
accompanist?
because it's also phrasing.
It's the phrasing.
Hmm. Like for saxophone, we go really fast sometimes
Hmm. It's the phrasing.
for classical.
And the phrasing is so crucial.
Hmm.
It's so important that it almost cannot be overstated
Right.
how important it is.
Hmm.
Because the phrasing in and of itself can make or break a song. And remember we were talking about that, just the two of us. Not
Right.
just not just the two of us, I'm sorry. Just the Way You Are. I keep mixing those titles up
Yeah.
by Billy Joel.
You're
Just
fine.
like Brown Eyed Girl.
Hmm.
Every single phrase in that song is unstable. And what he's saying is, I'll stick with you through the bad times, and you don't have to try
Hmm.
to impress me, and you don't have to do anything special, but yet by making every single one of those phrases unstable, that makes it at least to some degree disingenuous.
Right, right.
Was that an
Um,
accident? I
hmm.
don't think that could have been an
No,
accident.
no.
I don't know. I haven't heard Billy Joel lecture about stable and unstable, but I mean, he's good enough that I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure, at least on an unconscious level, he gets it. So
Right, right.
why did he do it that way?
Yeah, don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's the saxophone solo on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Da, ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So every phrase is unstable. And it's incredibly chromatic, which sounds unstable. Right?
Right.
That was obviously by design too. That was
Mm-hmm.
not an accident.
Right.
Right? Why didn't the saxophone player play stable?
Yeah. Good
Because
question.
that's not the phrasing of the song.
Right.
Do you think they talked about it beforehand, or do you think it just felt right to play unstable?
Probably just felt right.
So if you listen, you have access to those feelings,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right? That's
Yep.
what Randy taught me. When you could play anything, listen for the first verse and first chorus, and you should be ready to play by the end of the
Mm-hmm.
first chorus,
Right.
right? You'll know what key you're in. You'll know what song you're playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had one gig that, man, I think you would really benefit from having a gig like this. It was
Yeah.
and this is another thing that at the time I wasn't really all that grateful for because the pay was so lousy. But one gig that I did was a jazz gig at this place. Oh, okay, I see. We'll be finishing up. Just let me finish my
Okay.
story. That's hilarious.
I didn't want to say it.
Okay, so anyway, in Orlando, this place called the Vines. Have you ever been there? The Vines
Yeah.
Grill, right? Did you ever
Yeah.
hear the music there?
I think so. Maybe once. Yeah.
Like they have jazz and blues or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I played sax with those guys so many times, and it was a big, long, 3-hour gig or whatever. I only paid $50, no matter what. But the coolest thing was, I just brought my alto and that's it. Sometimes I would bring a guitar too. Yeah, I guess I would. I would bring an alto and an electric guitar and an amp. Is what I would bring. That's everything.
Yeah.
And then the piano player would start playing, and I would just decide: do I want to play sax? Do I want to play guitar? There was some songs that the bluesy ones generally I played guitar. More jazzy ones I generally played sax. I brought my fake books. If I had a chart, I read the chart. If I didn't have a chart, then all I would do is just take a ride, and the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
song just stand there, and smile and look pretty in my suit, my black, you know,
Yeah.
and so like it was so cool now because to reflect back on that because sometimes they would literally be playing and I had no idea what the hell the song was. Like some of the Joe Beam stuff, like the
Mm-hmm.
bossa novas, like I didn't know the title, I didn't know the melody, I did some obscure one, it's
Yeah.
like obviously not Ipanema or any of the really really famous ones,
Right.
but
Right.
like some of that stuff and I'm like what's going on, and like they'd have these songs where the chord progression would modulate throughout, and then you'd end up taking this big ride, and by the time you come back, you're not even in one key. And I didn't have a chart with the chords, so I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to play.
Yeah.
Thank God for that, because it taught me to fucking listen.
Good. Yeah. That's cool.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know how much I'm going to chop this up, but I wanted to thank you so
Okay.
much for being with me today,
Thank you,
and
Matthew.
it was awesome, and you
Yeah.
really did a lot to help to pick up my spirits, and I hope that the two of us
Good.
were able to
I'm
do that for
glad.
some of our viewers. So make sure that you guys tune into the next Gem and Chat, and if you'd like to be on, make sure you find that link in the description and join our Facebook group, and you can join us. I'll see you
Thank
guys
you.
next time.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me on Matthew's Music Lesson Studio. Please share this video, like, and subscribe to join my more than 500 subscribers. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. And please continue to tune in for all the great shows that I have to offer you, like Matthew's Favorite Covers, Jam and Chat, Mastering Music with Matthew, original music from my band, Mellify, parodies by The Brown Streaks, and of course, music lessons. If there's anything specific you'd like me to cover, or any topic you'd like me to discuss, or an idea for a video that you have, or a collaboration you'd like to do, all those things are proper for the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me. And did you know that you can get online music lessons from me on Zoom? $20 for a 30-minute lesson. This is a rock bottom price, live one-on-one, me and you, and I record it MP4 for you. And you can then review that lesson forever
whatever. You can have it so we can go over it, you can practice along with it, and then that way, no matter what, you can relax and enjoy the lesson. So please, MatthewsMusicLessonStudio.com. I'll see you guys next time on Matthew's Music Lesson Studio.